This is how I made a 5.5 RR day trading Euro USD. I'm still on this trade. I'm waiting for it to hit my stop loss or my take profit, which is the 85 and the 90 mark. I'm still in the trade. I have already profited a 5.5 RR. Yes, on paper, yes, on paper, it may look like it's a 5.5 RR, but on real, it's like 2 RR. I made, I'm pretty sure 2.5 R. Was it 2.5 RR? 700 partial and a $600 partial, right? Basically 1 hour, 2 hour, basically 2.5 RR partial, right? So half this up, and I actually partialed even less because my take profit got met, and I was doing believe it or not, I was doing a hamstring. I was digging in there, right? And eventually saw, oh, take profit got hit. Let me go break even. And we have a lot of lesson on this video we're gonna talk about, and many other things, right? About psychology, right? Why it matters, risk management, right? On this trade, I risked about half of my position, which is basically supposed to be 2% on a challenge account and maximum 1% on a live account, right? So I basically de-risked by 50%. What is the reasoning that I de-risked by 50%? Is simply because of a hard type and bias not being that clear. I had a down bias and up bias, so I was like, okay, I'm still gonna have an up bias, I'm still gonna have a bullish bias, but let me de-risk, right? So if I lose, I'm losing less, but if I make, I'm making money at least, right? So let's get to a top down analysis. Why we were looking for a long here? Why do we entered out of the 5 minute instead of the 15-minute time frame? Because see 5 minute, probably wondering, well, that's unrealistic. In a higher time frame, if you look at this, you're saying like, oh, is this a wick? That's not a wick. Don't worry, right? So let's get straight into it. Higher time frame. We had believe it or not, we have a 3 month time frame here, right? 3 month CRT low got soup. We want to go to 3 month CRT high, right? On the monthly, we have a monthly discounted IRL to premium ERL, right? So we tapped as well, tapped a discount on the daily range. So we want to go to the daily range high, which is all over here. That's the higher time frame primarily. That's a really high time frame that we won't be using on a daily basis, but sometimes we do need a higher time frame, right? So today I needed it, right? On a weekly ERL to IRL, I got tapped, right? Which got inversed, I mean. So we're going to have the IRL. Eventually, this IRL got soup. So from going from a weekly ERL to IRL, but this IRL has not been created yet. So I'm not sure. We as well have a weekly CRT here, right? To the bear side. I do not believe we're going to go all the way down here. We could possibly retrace the 50% mark of the CRT and push it back up, but I believe we will not be going all the way down here. Higher time frame, it wants to go up, right? So we're going to go with the base of the higher time frame. On a daily, this is where I got my bias. The reason I was looking for a long, keep in mind, we had a classic expression profile 2 to the downside as well. Tuesday half of the week. We also had a bullish one right over here, right? For our bullish side, we had a SMT divergence with the Monday low. So I was like, okay, since we have a SMT with a Monday low, which has been holding for the past couple of days, is stronger than the SMT that right over here. Because we had a SMT divergence with the Wednesday candle, right? Tuesday and Wednesday had SMT. So I was like, okay, market did a huge plummet to the downside, and as well we tapped the CRT low of the SMT that happened. I'm looking for a bull side here. I'm looking for a long. You give me a better entry. Market did we bought below the weekly. We bought below the weekly opening price, right? As well as daily and as well as the 4 hour time frame. It looked way too true to be. It looked too good, right? So I took it, but I de-risk, right? The reason I de-risk, I will tell you guys right now, right? We have a bullet S&P divergence. We had a classic extreme profile to the upside. We as well had a daily, and there's a little small ass IRL, which doesn't matter how small the IRL or ERL is. It's gonna work out, right? So daily IRL to ERL, we had a daily CRT to the upside. That was the higher time frame for a bullish stance, right? For a bear stance, this is why de-risk. So on a higher time frame, we had a SMT divergence with the Wednesday, Tuesday high. We had a ERL to IRL. This IRL, we would have not counted it. Why? Because it's had a CRT. So you can see why the IRL got disrespected. Market went below the IRL and hit the CRT low. Eventually, in my eyes, was a daily ERL to IRL, right? but it did not make sense to me, right? I was like, okay, now this is my higher time frame bias. Now I have to go to a lower time frame, the 4-hour time frame. What is my narrative? What is more making more sense? Is a bullish narrative or a bearish narrative making sense, right? So the lower time frame is what literally help me if I'm looking for a longer short here, right? The lower time frame, the narrative was basically, you know, giving me more bullishness rather than bearishness, right? We had a 4-hour key level. We were looking for a New York reversal profile 2, 5 MB commission, 9 AM manipulation, and 1 PM expansion. 1 PM in this case didn't expand. You probably have to close because for a fair price, you could see it was a big wick. It needs to close at a fair price. We had a daily range, super low, super high, stable low. Market, this is discount, this is premium, as well as discount area got tapped, so we're gonna go daily range high. What else do we had? We had a range. This is our range high, this is our range low. How come this is our range right over here? There's a daily CT high, there's a daily CT low. And this is like primarily the reason I was looking for a long here, right? Because of the range. Because I do not like to trade inside the range. I only like to trade once the range high, range low gets pursed. If the opposite side of the range gets pursed, I do not like to enter the trade. In this case, my side of the range get pursed, so I'm looking for a trade here, right? So I had a range here in a lower time frame, and you can see this is a daily CT high, but the daily CT low did not have a like a bearish bullish candle making a lower time frame range. So I did not see that happening. So okay, I'm not gonna bother that. I'm not gonna do it, right? Because usually the best highest probability of a range dynamic, which is subjective, keep that in mind, is when the low and the high are the same candle of the weekly or the daily or weekly CRT. So if the low has a bearish bullish candle and the high has a bullish bearish candle, when the daily candle closes, that is a good range, right? If the range has just a the low is just just a random candle, but the high is a big bullish candle, right? And that is like less probability of a range, right? Same to the weekly time frame, right? That's why I was like, yeah, this is making me more sense for the upside. We as well had a bullish auto flow, right? This is what was the last bearish candle that tapped the higher time frame key level. This right here was the last bearish candle that tapped the higher time frame key level, which is the monthly IRL as well, monthly CRT as well as a weekly ERL, right? So this is the last low. So we had a bullish order flow still. What else do we had here? We had that was enough for this trade, to be honest. We had nothing else, right? We had a 4-hour CRT. As you guys already know, 1-hour CRT will never be taking a trade, right? And let's get to the hourly time frame, lower time frame. We had an hourly. So the primary reason, other reason I took this trade was an hourly CRT, right? We had an hourly CRT. As you guys know, right, New York reversal profile 2, the hourly CRT is going to be there. Usually want to use the hourly CRT with the 4-hour CRT, right? Usually what the hourly CRT does with the 4-hour CRT, you get an advanced entry. So, right, so getting a earlier entry than the 15-minute, because 15-minute, you have to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. The 5-minute, you'll get an advanced entry, right? Which I got, and you usually get way more RR than when you're using the 15-minute, right? But you must be calculated with it and strategic with it. Why? Because you can get stopped out easier, right? Because the lower time frame, as well as when should you when should be using a 5-minute time frame instead of 15-minute is when you're having there's multiple ways to go with this, right? But for a New York reversal profile too, you could use the hourly CRT, use the time frame alignment, you'll be entering at a 5-minute, right? If the hourly CRT gets respected, moving on to the 15-minute, right? But other than that is dang, I said the same word, same word twice. Other than that, a New York situation, you can usually use hourly CRT and enter the 5-minute time frame because you want the market to do a little retracement to expand, right? And now let's get straight into the 5-minute time frame for the execution. But before we go into that, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Those who are in my my thing, somebody asked me like, "Yo, bro, you've been talking about at the CRT low, there must be a legit low, right? There must be a legit low, the CRT low, and the CRT low does not have a legit low. Keep in mind, this is the 15-minute time frame. If this hourly CRT got disrespected and it was not a legit low, I'm not going to be entering a trade, right? And I'm looking for a legit low to get purged. In this case, it was not a legit low, but at the lower time frame for the hourly CRT, there was a legit low, right? You can see bearish, bullish candle, market swept it out, motor one. Right when he tapped it, I did not even try to get a better position, right? I actually got a worse position. I got like a 7 pip difference, right? But it's all cool, right? Eventually I entered a trade they're above the number one, but it's all cool. Spread, right? It's gonna happen like that, and eventually entered it. You can see market just expanded without waiting here, right? Stop loss right below the number one, and take profit one was the 50% mark of the 4-hour CRT. Take profit two was the hourly CRT high, which there was the market reverse, right? I first partialed at the 50% mark of the CRT. I mean 4-hour CRT. Then the second take profit, man, I partialed like way later on. I partialed around at 89, 86, 90, right? Which is a huge difference, right? That's like a 9 pip difference of a take profit. You know, would you be better off partialing here or partialing here? Right? What would you rather take? This spot or this spot, right? That's why now we're gonna go into psychology, right? Risk management, right? Before we've talked about, let's talk about a little bit more before we get into that, right? But I'm still in this trade. I'm gonna hold it for long term till tomorrow, but I can't hold it after tomorrow because of the prop firm needs to do some updates and eventually gonna shut down my trade, regardless if I like it or not, right? And now let's go over the lessons, right? We had the right number one, right? We had the right time to purge at the hourly CRT low. It was a legit low. We took it, right? And what was the lesson for the day? You know, this is the important part. Risk management. Without risk management, do not like you got. The topic is risk management, right? That's like the biggest lesson, right? Risk management. Why is risk management the biggest lesson of the day, right? Because usually, if I were to risk, let's just say 2%, let's just say this hit take profit, right? Let's just say actually, let's say it hits stop loss, right? And the higher time frame, my daily time frame, I have a really bad, I have a two-way bias, right? I have a bullish bias and a bearish bias. I'm deciding where should I go. The lower time frame, I mean, the 4-hour time frame gave me the actual bias here, right? Which was bullish because, more narrative and it made more sense, right? Primarily because of the range, right? Which made most sense for me to take this long trade. But risk management is very crucial, right? You must know when should you de-risk, right? Don't de-risk on some, don't really de-risk on all of your trade, right? Some trades you actually want to add on risk, right? If I were really confident, I would add on risk, but usually at a live account, you never want to risk more than 1%. But let's just say you usually risk like what? 0.50% at a 0.75%, right? If you're confident in a trade. I mean, even that trade goes lost, but guess what? You're confident, right? I would rather be confident and lose than be unconfident, anxious, and not sure and win, right? Because that's gonna build bad habits, gonna build false pride. Eventually, I'm gonna get cooked, right? And because the habits are actually making you money, right? So you must know when to break even, right? So not to break even. You must know when to de-risk, right? In this case, why did I de-risk on this trade? I personally would have not have, if I'm thinking of it right now, I would have not de-risked because, during this time I have a clearer mind. That's what I say. That's why you guys see me doing my market recap hours after the trading session, so I can let my mind cool down, right? Because during that specific time of that me taking a trade, I had a mixed bias. I cannot think as clear as I'm right. I cannot think as clear as I am right now because me during that time I was looking to take a trade, right? So I was focusing on the trade, and regardless, once the trade goes, then hours later I could be like, okay, I could reflect on a trade. So basically journaling it, right? That's why you guys see me record my trades, and that's why you guys see me post my trades, recaps later on the day. Would not right after the trading session. Even if I did not take in a trade, I would not make a video right afterward because okay, even if I don't take a trade, there might be an entry, right? So let me go, let my mind cool down, let it come back down, right? Let the dopamine, let the everything cool back down, and we're back in the chart. Let's see what happened, right? Let's go aftermath. Let's see what the outcome was, right? Of the charts, then study the outcome, right? So same with this. During that specific time when I took this trade, I said I want de-risk, right? Why am I de-risk? Because this trade right over here, just to the 5RR, I would have passed that phase one, right? This trade I took in a challenge. I'm not gonna go to a live account right now, I have to, because I literally the platform shut down and I lost most of my funding, so I have to go and get back my funding back up before I move on to that, right? So, or not, that's not the topic of the day, right? The topic of this right over here, right, is what was I gonna talk about? I literally forgot. By this time, let's get into it, right? At this time when I took the trade, my mind was not that clear, right? So I had a mixed bag, but I was like, okay, my mind's not that clear. Let me de-risk. So I literally de-risked by 50%, which is I'm supposed to be risking 2%. I risked 1%, right? I didn't over risk, right? So I was like, let me de-risk because of a bearish price on a higher time and a bullish price on a higher time. As if I keep in mind, as of right now, I would have not de-risked as what I'm seeing at that moment right now. I would not be de-risking, right? But that time I did de-risk. Why? Because now my mind's more clear, right? Why would I not do this right now at this time? Because it showed me that okay, market clearly wants to go up higher because we had more narrative and the lower time frame, right? The higher time frame only give maybe a mixed match, but guess what? The lower time frame, the narrative is what gonna decide. Okay, does longs look better or shorts look better? In this case, longs look way better. And the next lesson of this trade is I will no longer be breaking even. I mean, not breaking even. What I say, break even. I will no longer be partialing at the 50% mark anymore, or break even at that 50% mark. I'll go for that CTH low. Why do I say this? As I said, during this time, my mind was not that clear. That time I took this trade, I went for the 50% mark as well. Why I went for the 50% mark? Because I was like, okay, it's like I have a mismatch bias, so let me just go 50% mark as well, just to just to if it reverses from there, let me just secure some profits, right? Which is that's not a good thing to do, right? I should always be going for a CTH to low because this is too much partialing, right? This is too much partialing because instead of me making 5.5 RR, I made how much RR did I make? I made only 2.3 RR or 2.5 RR, right? I didn't make that much, right? And this one over here, if I were to go over here, I would have made like a 3 RR partial, but I did not make that. Why? Simply because over here I partial less, so I made on 2.5% instead of a 3% or instead of a 5% gain, right? Simply because of one thing, the 50% mark take profit, right? Yes, sometimes you guys gotta know if you have the narrative, you should always go for the high or low, right? Usually, people who go for the 50% mark is people who are less confident, right? So that is actually true because in the higher time, in daily time frame, right, my take profit was 50% mark of the daily time frame, right? A daily and above, I would definitely go for 50% mark, but the lower time frame, like hourly, 4 hour, I would not, right? Because that's slow time frame, and I'm making way less than my profit. So that's the next lesson that we can have. Is basically just going for the safety hash to low, regardless of the narrative being low, high, whatever. But the risk management must be there, right? If the narrative is low, I mean, if the market does not make sense, I would de-risk, right? If the what I'm saying, if let's say my mind is foggy or I'm kind of geeked or something, I would de-risk, right? But if my mind is not that foggy, I mean, not it's not I mean that mind is foggy. Is that if the higher time frame is not making that sense in the mixed bias, you have a bullish bias and a bearish bias, de-risk, right? In this case, I would have not de-risked. As I said, the narrative is what decided the bullish bias, and yeah, risk management is the key point out of this trade recap. Thank you for watching. Join Discord. Link is down below. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out. It's a long video, but it's lessons, right? Trade recaps where the most lessons you gain, right? This is right here. This video is where you gain the most knowledge ever because this is the outcome of the trade, right? This is literally what actually happened, right? This right over here, when I took the trade, is the process. This is the outcome of what happened, right? So now the outcome is what I will only go, or I only do go for a 50%. I only go for a COTH low as my take profit, not for the 50% partial, not for the 50% mark. The only time I go for a 50% mark is if the daily or weekly, right? And what I say I do only because I try to keep my mind in the present tense, right? As well as next lesson is risk management. Simple as that. And everything else was followed. I built good habits. I'm satisfied. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.